Welcome to the Productivity Podcast. It's just me today, and we're going to take a look back at Productivity and Transformation 2022, which took place last week, 15th of September 2022, in collaboration with Oliver Banks. Great day, plenty of people attended. I think we were up to the 90 mark almost. As ever, the enigma that is Oliver Banks, amazing stage presence and brilliant content from Oliver. But let's work through the day. What did we learn? What were the audience talking about, and what were their kind of key takeaways? So Diane Well from Springboard opened the event. Diane gives us some really amazing insight into the world of footfall, what we're seeing in terms of trends, how that's looking pre-COVID, post-COVID, over the last 10 years, how that looks for shopping centres versus high street versus retail parks. So some really, really great foundational insight there for the audience in terms of where things are heading, what Diane's expecting to see based on the trends over the coming months with the backdrop of rising energy prices, all the cost pressures that are coming down for retailers and other organisations, and how that might affect us as consumers in the way we spend our money and where we spend it. Then we had some panel guests with Sue talking about context. So what are we seeing? What does it feel like out there if we're a retail organisation or a hospitality organisation? What are some of the pain points that we're seeing in organisations? And I think the key part there for me was around everybody's problems are roughly the same. Everybody's trying to solve some of those problems through cost efficiencies, through looking at leadership structures, through looking at all the other areas of the P&L that they can affect. But one of the interesting things was that customer was rarely mentioned. So we really can't lose sight of what the end game is here in terms of customer satisfaction, driving that advocacy, that repeat business into our organisations, because that's the bit that keeps the lights on and everybody working towards that common goal. Then Dulcie Swanson came on and talked about top right thinking, so that the leadership model of challenge versus empathy. Drew that out with the audience, which is great. It was great to see so many people engaged there, and talked with Sue again around some case study work that we've done around how, when we're doing our role studies, can we capture that quality of conversation, and what are those correlations between the challenge and the empathy of those conversations and the impact it has on the pace of work for colleagues. And some really amazing insight that Dulcie shared in terms of some of those more direct conversations that were low on empathy, high on challenge, had a real impact on some of the outputs for the productivity of their colleagues. So lots to get into there. The amazing Jason Cotter, so CEO at Ollenstein, formerly managing director at Costa Coffee, along with Lee Rushworth and Darren Kay from Poundland, gave us some amazing insight in terms of how they're looking at managing cost, some of the creative things they're thinking about, and some of the ways that they're trying to kind of make that piece of cost management more appropriate in the current day and age. So focusing on the non-value add, looking to think about the customer, those journeys, those paths that they're taking, and how they can make sure they're appropriate. One-touch stock cropped up 2 or 3 times in that conversation. So how you stop double handling, treble handling stock and the cost that involves. Quality of the insights, so that some of the data that we provide in terms of time and motion, role study efficiency, to help you make those big decisions. Are you making it on the right data? Is that data benchmarked? Do you know where you sit? Does that data go through a robust labour model so that you can model out those scenarios of hours, cost savings? Because it's not as easy as at times 1 + 1 = 2. Lots of things in there, minimum manning, offsets that create that. But that big piece, and I think the key takeaway is that short-term cost cutting isn't the long-term answer. So some really, really great conversation there. After lunch and some extended time for networking, Oliver facilitated a session where we got into groups to talk around what the challenge is, what will colleagues say, what can we do about it, and that'll be written up as a case study and circulated to those that attended in the next couple of weeks. But good to get everybody on their feet, thinking, talking, sharing ideas, and giving people some key takeaways to work with when they get back into their respective organisations. We then had a session in terms of change, so growth plans, goals. Oliver delivered some interesting insights around organisations that had some amazing goals, but maybe didn't get where they thought they would, so Toys R Us, Amazon, Blockbuster, for example. We then moved into another panel discussion on change. Ben Armstrong from Internet Fusion Group, Lindsay Elliott, Dan McGrath, panel hosted by Oliver. Again, some consistent themes that were coming out around speed of change, how you maintain that change, how you embed that change, how you don't necessarily want to and have to keep going back every 6 to 12 months, linked to the whole recruitment challenge in terms of the amount of churn in certainly retail organisations now. So how do you make those changes with a workforce that in maybe 12 months' time is almost completely different than the one you have today? Ian Benson, the chairman from Benson's Beds, then gave the closing speech, some great examples of how you pull that all together, how you focus that on the customer, and the unexpected challenge of doing probably more than half of it in the dark, as there was a power cut in the local area. So an amazing day. Again, many thanks to Oliver Banks and his team. Sue, Victoria, Phil, Ed from the ReThink team did an amazing job. And last but not least, thank you for everybody who gave up the time and effort to attend the day. We love seeing you. We loved having those conversations, and watch this space as we come back with dates for the 2023 event. So for me, key takeaways from the day: short-term cost cutting, not the long-term answer. Remove the process to remove the cost. Quality of productivity data and insights to make decisions, and focus on the non-value add.